I'm sure that by now you guys have seen the debacle, the confrontation between Zelensky, Trump, and J.D. Vance. And boy, oh boy, was it entertaining. I actually talked about it quite a bit over on my political channel, Political Cinema. But during that heated exchange, J.D. Vance put something out there on Front Street for the world to hear that I think is very important. Something that I've been meaning to talk about on YouTube for a while, but I never really got around to it until now. And I'm glad I waited, because now is the perfect opportunity to talk about this. Because you see, J.D. Vance put Zelensky on the spot and put it out there that in Ukraine, they are forcing people to fight in this war. They are, I kid you not, they're going around, basically, the only way I could describe it is they're kidnapping people and forcing them to the front lines. Like literally, people will be walking through the street, living their life, going about their day, and vans will pull up and they will throw people in the back of vans. And a lot of the stuff I've heard that happens to these people, I can't talk about on YouTube. But let's just say a lot of these people, they're forced to the front lines, and some of them don't even make it there because they're disposed of after they're kidnapped. And if you put up a fight, if you try not to do this, you try not to do that, they have other ways of ending you and making sure that nothing ever happens. No one's ever held accountable. So J.D. Vance put this out there right in front of Zelensky. In fact, I'm just going to play a short, quick clip so you could hear from J.D. Vance what he said, and then I'll be right back with more.
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you are not
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the President for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military?
We have problems.
And do you think that it's respectful?
I will answer.
So Zelensky is trying to deny that this is happening. He's saying, "Oh, but you're not here. You're not in Ukraine. You don't know this. You're not here." And JD's like, "I don't gotta be in Ukraine. I see the news, I see the videos." And it just so happens that after this little exchange, a new video made its way online. A new video showing exactly what J.D. Vance is talking about. And it's really scary stuff, honestly, because a man is literally walking his dog down the street. Everything is normal, everything is hunky-dory, everything is fine. And then a van pulls up. And they forcefully snatch this man up. He's screaming. They leave his dog that he was walking, they just leave it out there. And they take this man away. And God knows what happened to him. Either they beat him to death because he refused to fight, or they threw him out there on the front lines. That's the reality of what is happening in Ukraine. And most of the people who are gung-ho and blindly supporting Ukraine, they have no idea what's really happening over there. They do not have the slightest bit of an understanding of what is transpiring in Ukraine. Look, when Ukraine was initially invaded, I felt bad for them. How I feel now about the war in Ukraine is much different than I felt in the opening days of the invasion, or as Russia was building up their military along the border. How I feel now is very different because we've been exposed to a lot of different information, and I want people out there to realize it's okay to change your mind about things. Because once you start digging, and if you've just seen how Zelensky has been acting, where this money has been going, it really makes you, have a different take on this whole war and everything that's happening in Ukraine, Russia, and what have you. But without further ado, I want to show you what I'm talking about. Because it's scary stuff, folks. And more people need to see it. So share the video. I'm sure this platform will not like that I'm talking about this. But that's what we do. We talk about things that they don't want us to talk about. So let's roll the clip and then I'll be right back with more thoughts. This is just one clip, ladies and gentlemen. But this is not an isolated situation. This is not something that happened just once. This is not something rare. I've been seeing stuff like this for over a year. A couple of years now, honestly. But it's gotten worse lately because Ukraine, man. Oh, man. Fighting age men in Ukraine are really getting grinded down. And Ukraine no longer has their best to send. They're sending amputees. They're sending people with mental handicaps. They are sending people old enough to be my grandfather to the front lines. And now, sadly, what you just saw in that video, it's happening a lot. A lot, folks. Not an isolated incident. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of cases of situations just like this one, where people are being snatched out of their homes, snatched off the streets, and forced to fight or else. And for Zelensky to sit up here and act like some sort of hero, when he knows damn good and well they are snatching young men off the streets and throwing them into a meat grinder in a war that they have no chance of winning. Ukraine has no chance of winning this war. It doesn't matter how many billions of dollars we send them. It doesn't matter how much help they get from Europe. They have no chance of winning this war. So every man that they're snatching up off the streets, they're throwing him into a meat grinder where there's really not many possibilities of survival. Meanwhile, people like Zelensky are getting richer. And a lot of the money they're being sent, it's going in other places. We don't know where. Zelensky says he doesn't even know where. So yeah, I am over the war in Ukraine. I am over being involved. Zelensky has pushed things too far. He has asked for too much. And he will not accept the outcome of this conflict. The outcome of this conflict is Ukraine lost. And we don't need to keep treating Ukraine like a bottomless money pit that we just throw money into just so they could kill more of their people off and throw into the meat grinder that is the front lines. So I'm glad J.D. Vance put this out there for more people to hear, because a lot of people do not realize what's happening in Ukraine, and now a lot of people do. And hopefully this video will provide backup to J.D. Vance's claims. Because when you hear something like that, often you don't want to believe it until you see it for yourself. So for now that you've seen it for yourself, Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next video.